So, Linda, I always like to start our calls with a little bit of personal backstory and what propelled you onto this path and really to devote so much of your life to it.
Okay, well, I was a witch before I even knew what a witch was. I was doing things as a child like making rose petal potions and speaking to fairies and just talking to trees and looking at the moons and the stars. And I was also tuning into subtle beings at night. So I was doing all of that, not really having much of an opportunity to talk about it with other people or read about it, because in those days, we're talking about the 60s and 70s, there wasn't much on. There was certainly, we had two channels on TV, we had no internet, so and two library books about this kind of thing, and they were things on Greek mythology. They weren't even really related. So I was always aware that there was more to life and that there was a magical world that wasn't just for fairy tales. And I looked for it. I studied astrology, I studied numerology, anything I could get my hands on as I kind of developed. And I was also having some very intense things like precognition, so premonition dreams, particularly as a teenager. So I was having psychic experiences, which felt like there was another realm, showing me that there was something else. And I always had this sense I wanted to be a healer. So I did various jobs that put me in the trenches. So I was a social documentary photographer in apartheid South Africa, which was very intense.
Wow.
But it gave me, yeah, as I was only 21 when I left, we didn't even have access to a telephone. So it was very different from today. I don't know how I had the strength and courage to just get up and go, but I did. And I received the blessing of tarot at that stage, which was amazing. Someone taught me tarot, and that helped me through that difficult time. And then I kept on studying, came back to England, and then I threw myself into another trenches, which was working as a counsellor. I developed my abilities as a psychotherapist and a counsellor, and I was working mainly with sexual abuse and rape crisis, 24-hour lines with no supervision, that kind of thing. And then I moved to the US. And at that point, I discovered Wicca, or Wicca discovered me. I'm not sure which way round it was, but I ended up being a nanny for a really wonderful woman who was a coven sister to Starhawk. So it was amazing. I got to be right in the center of this kind of new neo-paganism, or this whole kind of world that was blowing up at that stage and getting a lot of interest and excitement. And that's when I started to acquire all the tools of traditional Wicca, or reclaiming version of traditional Wicca.